Hey guys, Eric and Eric here, and we've already come to the end of season 1 for The Walking Dead.
Yeah, very quick.
6 episodes went really fast, so let's jump right into the season finale here. I liked the episode, and I'll tell you guys why in a sec, but I will admit, it didn't really feel very season finale to me, you know?
Yeah, it's a very solid episode of the show. I do wish they'd ended with something a little more, because it's only 6 episodes, because the show will be gone for quite a while. I feel like they should have had a little more of a punch at the end there. Something to kind of leave us talking a lot about, oh my god, what is going to happen in the next moment.
Yeah.
They didn't do that, but what they did do is tell a very good story.
Yeah, I mean, they almost had that moment actually in the episode prior to this, when the gates were opening up in the CDC.
Yeah, that could have been the finale right there.
Exactly. So, you know, what I really liked about this episode was that it was a great self-contained story. You know, 13 episodes next season, you're going to need to pepper in kind of these standalone self-contained stories to keep us to keep us interested.
Yeah, and I thought what they did here, you know, we talked a lot about how this whole CDC thing is uncharted territory, not from the comics, but it felt very natural within this world. The idea, showing this scientist who just reached the end of his rope, a guy who was trying and, you know, held out a lot longer than anyone else, but having seen his friends die, having seen his wife die, having to kill her himself, he just had enough, and it felt like it belonged in this world. I loved the characters reacting to him. I thought there was great stuff at the end with Dale and Andrea and how they almost decided to stay themselves. So yeah, it was all really well handled. Yeah,
we actually spoke off camera about how this could almost serve as a replacement to the story in the comic book about when they come to that gated community and think, hey, maybe we could live here.
Yeah, having that big happiness, though they want to believe this is where we can be, this is where we can be safe, but of course it's not to be.
Yeah, and you know, you touched on the characters, and I gotta say, something else I really enjoyed about this episode is that it solidified the character relationships as they're going to exist in the TV series. So, in other words, we have the Dale and Andrea relationship in the comics. The TV one is similar to the comics, but its own thing. Same thing for the Shane and Laurie relationship, for example.
Yeah, I mean, which is taking a very dark turn. I mean, it took a dark turn in the comics as well, but here, I mean, just there was this, you know, sort of threat that he might sexually assault her, and this is coming on the heels of him aiming the gun at Rick the week before. So we're really seeing him come unhinged here. It's a very scary scenario, and meanwhile, Rick doesn't know anything about it. So it's a nice sort of ticking time bomb element I feel they've created here.
So let's touch on something from the comics. There was a big death in the comics of a person close to Rick. We were expecting that would probably happen within the first 6 episodes. It didn't happen here.
Didn't happen, but I feel okay with that, having seen what they did, you know, because I feel like they have built up enough story here that I didn't feel cheated. I don't think that they're going to chicken out. I feel like that they just have more to tell here, and they have the time to do it. So I'm really okay with it, having seen the character dynamics at this point.
Now let's talk about, really quick, the one kind of cliffhanger-y element to this episode, which is when, right before Rick is escaping the lab, the doctor grabs him and whispers something into his ear. And I've got to think that it ties into those blood tests that he took. Yeah,
I think that's a pretty safe bet there. You know, and also I want to mention the thing in France. You know, they little seeds. You don't know what they'll do, but you know, they said, okay, there's this lab in France. They got further than anyone with the research. So is that something they'll pick up? I mean, we were joking also, are they going to somehow get to France? But, you know, we don't know. They could somehow pick that up at some point. I mean, if the show goes on for years, who knows?
Perhaps Lapidus is going to swoop in with his airplane and take
him to
France. So why don't you guys let us know what you thought of The Walking Dead Season 1. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, or blog about it on your IGN account. We'll pick up some of the best ones and feature it alongside our content this week.
Thanks, guys. See you next year.